So we need to talk about Social Security because there are multiple plans that are going about the internet. Some are saying that Social Security is going to be insolvent. Some are saying that Social Security and lawmakers have no intention of any reform to Social Security. But then there's others that say, yes, Social Security will be fixed. It will not be insolvent. Don't worry, your benefits are protected. We're getting a lot of different reports. Well, here's the problem, and this is not a new problem, is that Social Security will become insolvent by 2033. Now, just how big of a problem is this? And why are lawmakers waiting to figure out a plan to solve Social Security? Well, here's what I can tell you. This is a major problem. But we're going to get to that in just a second because we need to address the new plan that lawmakers are proposing. But first, we have to discuss some of the other issues. But before we do that, can you do me a favor? Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button if you just wish Congress would get their act together and do their job. Now, let's get to this new plan. And also, how likely is the House or the Senate to pass this plan? But in order to understand the plan, you need to understand where Social Security is currently. If we wait for Social Security to become insolvent, then you are going to see your Social Security benefits get reduced by roughly 22%. This is why lawmakers are saying that we have to figure out a way to improve the system. It doesn't matter what it is, we have to improve the system. This could mean additional tax increases. We could see a higher tax rate. We could see spending cuts, right? There is a lot of things here. Or we could see lawmakers pass this new plan, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But before we get into that new plan, let's address what's happening right now that experts are greatly concerned with. So here's the first one. Did you know that Social Security Trust Fund will run a deficit about $500 million per year starting in 2033? The reason I even bring this up is so you know how much trouble we're actually in. We have to figure out a way to make up that $500 million per year deficit. That's at least according to multiple reports. Now, according to experts, and this is the second problem, baby boomers will start retiring at an even faster pace in 2024. Currently, about 10,000 baby boomers retire each and every day, but in 2024, they say this number would actually balloon up to over 12,000 per day. Just to give you an idea, at an additional 2,000 people per day at $1,800 average benefit per month, this means that every single day, that would equal about the $3.6 million additional expense every single day. Just think about that. That is how crazy this is. So additional $3.6 million per day. And again, so that'd be tomorrow, $3.6 million. The next day, an additional $3.6 million. Additional $3.6 million. That's on top of what we're already spending. Obviously, the United States cannot afford this, and we can't keep up with this, especially when we are going to become insolvent for Social Security by 2033. Here's the other factor that counters into this number, and it kind of takes it back, but is the amount of deaths that we experience here in the United States every single day. Currently, that number is right about 8,000, which means the financial gap is widening. Because just because there's an additional 2,000 people that are going to retire, it doesn't mean an additional 2,000 people are going to die. Okay? So because of that, that creates a major issue that, again, it's a wider gap. And that's a problem. But let's address this new plan. Because the plan has, again, most recently, this is what everybody's been talking about, this particular plan. This is from Senators Bill Cassidy and Angus King. They've been working on this. They're starting to get more support from other lawmakers as well. However, it's pretty much sitting on the back burner until the debt ceiling can be resolved. Here's the plan, okay? The plan is to create an outside fund, outside of Social Security. And it's going to use the money to invest into equities. Now, the goal here would be to have these equities earn enough in earnings to pay out over time, to pay out the entire benefit amount. That's the goal. Now, I've heard from many people. I've talked to a bunch of people personally, talked to people, through email and comments and stuff like that. Even heard from other people on other channels and in interviews and stuff like that. And a handful of people say this is never going to work. But according to these two lawmakers, Senator Bill Cassidy and Angus King, they are both saying that this can work. They're not pulling this plan out of thin air. This is not something that they just came up with. They were sleeping one day and all of a sudden they woke up and was like, whoa, this is a good idea. This idea is something that lawmakers have talked about for years. And they say it's because this is what Canada does. This is what Japan does. And it works. They say that in their research that they have done, or others have done, just for the U.S. in the past handful of years, if we would have done this years ago, it says that the U.S. would, if we would have gone back to 1997 and done this, then Social Security would not be at risk of becoming insolvent at this time. That's what they're telling us. So this plan is not something that they just came up with it and it's like, well, we'll try it out. We'll see if it works. There's actually some backing that, yes, this can work. Now, I'm not here to push this plan down your throat and say this is going to work. This is exactly what's going to happen. We're going to do it. No. I'm not saying that. What's going to happen and what is going on right now is that lawmakers are putting different ideas out there. They're putting different plans together. And once this debt ceiling crisis is over, we don't have to deal with this, then lawmakers say they will decide which path they take. Do they try to raise taxes? And again, raising taxes when we could potentially end up in a recession. It's not a good move. Could they tax the wealthy? Potentially. But again, if we end up in a recession, if we see real estate go down, if we see stocks go down, if we see businesses crumble, is taxing the wealthy the best way? Some say no, because the people with assets, businesses, real estate, those people, those are the ones that are going to really feel the impact. Not the people that make very limited income, have no home, or don't own their own home, don't own a business. Again, don't have assets. If assets tank, it's the wealthy that are going to feel the impact. And so some lawmakers say we can't go and tax the wealthy when they're the ones that are going to feel the brunt of the impact. Now, keep in mind, just because a majority of lawmakers may support a bill for Social Security does not mean it gets done. It just doesn't. Because if some lawmakers don't like the idea or they don't want to vote on it before the presidential election, they won't vote on it. President Biden will shoot it down or veto the bill, technically. So this is why it's a major issue. And this is why these talks on Social Security are talks, especially right now. There's a plan to save Americans' future, and that is to deal with Social Security. But the issue is not the future, it's the present. This is why everything is pretty much sitting at a standstill, because lawmakers can't go and pass a bill for Social Security when they are still trying to figure out how to raise the debt ceiling and come to an agreement with other lawmakers, the other side of the aisle, to get something done. So, just wanted to fill you in on what's going on at this time. Again, there is a plan to save Social Security and save Americans' future. The only problem is it could take a little bit of time. So, as we get more information, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.